Testing 1, 2, 3 sounds good to me. What if I told you that every time a hand is raised in anger, it plants a seed of fear, and every time you choose love instead, you break a chain generations long? Be right back.
We've been whispering through the walls, trying to hush what our hearts wanna call. I feel your skin, it's a velvet prayer, pulling me closer, lay my burdens bare. You got a way to heal my ache, with every sigh that my body makes. Turn the night into a holy space. Baby, your love can't be replaced. Don't you turn it down, no. When the world gets loud, we gon' let it drown. 'Cause love is louder, love is deeper. Wrap me up, take me under. Every heartbeat, every shiver, you deliver something tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. I can taste forever on your lips, feel salvation in your fingertips. We don't need to say too much, just a look, just a touch. Let them talk, let them speculate. They can't measure what we create. Turn the lights low, let me find every secret you've been trying to hide. Don't you turn it down, no. When the world gets loud, we gon' let it drown. 'Cause love is louder, love is deeper. Wrap me up, take me under. Every heartbeat, every shiver, you deliver something tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. Let it echo, let it rise, let it pour into the sky. Every whisper, every moan, every night we make a home. Love is louder, love is deeper. Wrap me up, take me under. Every heartbeat, every shiver, you deliver something tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. Yeah, your love is louder, so much louder. Let it drown it all, love is louder.
So, did the people hear the song? Did you hear the song? Did the people hear the song? Did you like the song? I put that song there because love is louder. Love is what it took to get the same precious children here that some of us raise our hand up against. All that beautiful love making. And love making is beautiful. Make as much love as you possibly can, as safely as you can, and as responsibly as you can. And then raise that some love that your love has created as responsibly as you can, as respectful as you can, and with less violence as you can. You know, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., before I say that, welcome, welcome, welcome once, welcome twice. You're welcome in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Welcome to Unorganized Chaos Network. I am the evangelist of entertainment. This is a Whosoever Will Zone. All are welcome here. especially if you're gay, straight, crippled, or crazy. You're welcome to sing, you're welcome to shout, you're welcome to comment, you're welcome to like, you're welcome to subscribe, you're welcome to turn on that notification bell. You're welcome once, you're welcome twice, you're welcome 3 times in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for subscribing. I love you, I appreciate you, I thank God for you. It is never okay to hit a child in the head. Okay? I am committed to raising my child with patience, respect, and love. I have the power to end the cycle of violence and create a safe, peaceful home. My hands will be tools of comfort, not harm. Hitting doesn't teach respect, it teaches fear. And today I'm going to break that cycle for good. That's my promise that I'm keeping to myself. I have 3 kings, and I have in the past gave all 3 of my kings a spanking until I did some research. I wanted to see how Africans raise their kids. I said kings because I have 3 boys. How Africans raised their children before they came over here as slaves and started reading this white man's Bible. I wanted to see, well, how was it done in Africa? And this, I'm just trying to share with you. I'm not here to convince or condemn anyone of anything. I'm just here to give you something to consider. And not only about Africa, I started thinking about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He held a whole nonviolence movement. He held a nonviolence movement against people who was practicing violence against us. So we were nonviolent against people who were literally attacking us. So we can be nonviolent with people who was using violence against us and then turn around and be violent to our most vulnerable, precious children in our community who cannot defend themselves against us. Make it make sense. I'll wait. Let me say it again. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did a whole nonviolent movement against violent people who was using violence against us, killing us, shooting us, lynching us, beating us upside the head when we remained nonviolent to them unaliving us. And then we turn around and use violence towards our most vulnerable people in our community, which is our dear precious children who cannot defend themselves against our violence. It is never okay to hit a child, especially in the head. I want to be clear and unequivocal about this. Hitting a child in the head is dangerous. Even a single blow can cause serious injuries, concussion, bleeding in the brain, vision problems, developmental delays, or even permanent brain damage. It is abuse. Striking a child anywhere with intent to hurt, frighten, or punish is considered physical abuse. Hitting the head is especially severe. Especially when you're doing it in public, it's humiliating. That child is not going to grow up and love you and want to be around you. What child in their right mind want to be around an adult that's hitting them upside the head and the only thing they hear from them all the time is, I'm going to beat you behind, I'm going to beat you behind, I'm going to beat you behind. Can you say, I love you, I appreciate you, thank you for being here? Can you say something every day? You can ask all 3 of my kings. Even when they're upset with me, every day I send them some words of encouragement, some type of affirmation. And they don't know this, don't tell them I told y'all this. But every single last one of them, I told them they were my favorite one. So my first king thinks he's my favorite child. My second king thinks he's my favorite child. My third king thinks he's my favorite child. Don't ask them who the favorite. All 3 of them think that they're my favorite. And you know what? They don't have to think it, they know it. Because they all are. They're all unique in their different ways. Now, I'm not saying I like everything that they do. They don't like everything that I do. But I have made a choice and a decision when I had them that they are the only thing that will ever exist in this world that is greater than I am. My three kings. And I want to always make sure they know and feel that. It is never necessary. There is always a safer, healthier way to discipline or guide a child. If you or someone you know is struggling with anger or overwhelmed by parenting stress, please reach out for help. There is no shame in asking. Trust me. I remember I was talking to somebody about we need to practice gentle parenting. And they said, my kids ain't gentle. You know why your kids ain't gentle? Because you're not practicing gentle parenting. But here are a few resources you can call in the U.S. The Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline, 1-800-422-4453. It's a 24/7 hotline and you can be anonymous. It's confidential. The National Parent Helpline, 1-855-427-2736. While we're talking about these helplines, it just dawned on me that our Orange Chief and staff got rid of the National Suicide Hotline for the LGBTQIA plus community. I think that is very sad. I don't see how it was hurting anybody to have a hotline for the LGBTQIA plus community. That's all I want to say about that. If a child has been hit in the head and is drowsy, vomiting, confused, or loses consciousness, call 911 right away. Popping a child upside the head, even if you don't think it's that hard, can damage them psychologically. It damages them psychologically in powerful and lasting ways, especially for black boys. I can't recall ever in my life, ever, hitting any one of my young black boys in the head. It makes them lose their self-esteem, their confidence. Why would any adult in their right mind ever want to hit a child upside the head is beyond me. I can understand even if you do believe in whooping children, because if you misinterpreting the white man's Bible, even if you do want to whoop them, they have a hand and they have a butt. Popping a child upside the head erodes trust and safety. A child's brain is wired to expect protection and comfort from their caregivers. When the person they rely on hits them, especially in such a vulnerable place as the head, it creates confusion and fear. Instead of feeling safe, they feel unsafe in their own home. Humiliation and shame. Popping a child upside the head causes humiliation and shame. Being hit in the head is not just painful, it's humiliating. It sends the message you are small, you are powerless, you are bad. This shame can bury deep, affecting self-esteem long after childhood. Let's not normalize violence. Children learn by example. When they are struck to correct behavior, they often internalize the lesson that hitting is how you solve problems or express frustration. This can lead them to hit others or accept abuse in future relationships. Hitting a child upside the head creates anxiety and hypervigilance. Even occasional pops can make a child anxious, always bracing for the next outburst. You know how you can tell when a child's spirit is broken or when a dog's spirit is broken? Every time they come around, their head is down or they have low self-esteem or low confidence. Don't that make you wonder, I wonder if they're being hit upside the head or something like this? It causes chronic stress and it keeps their nervous system on high alert. It can disrupt their learning, their sleep, and their social development. Hitting a child on the head impairs emotional regulation. When a child is hurt by someone they love, they often suppress their feelings of anger or sadness because they feel it's unsafe to express them. I wouldn't express my feelings either. I don't know what you're going to do. Over time, that child may struggle to identify and manage emotions in healthy ways. Hitting a child upside the head undermines attachment and connection. A warm, stable bond with caregivers is the foundation of emotional health. Physical punishment weakens that bond, making it harder for a child to trust, communicate, and feel loved unconditionally. If you grew up with this being called discipline, know this: it doesn't make you a bad parent if you have done it in the past. Like I stated earlier, I have in the past until I spent 2 days doing this research. It does mean you have an opportunity to break the cycle, and God knows I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to break the cycle. Here are some healthier alternatives to physical punishment. Take a break yourself before reacting. Use calm, clear consequences tied to the behavior, not the child's worth. Children are not bad. There is no such thing as a bad child. Adults are not bad. There is no such thing as a bad adult. Children can do and participate and act in ways that we consider to be bad. Adults can do and participate in behaviors that we do and consider to be bad. Your child is not what he or she does. Your child is who he is, and your child is the most precious, vulnerable thing we have in our community. If we treat our children as precious and vulnerable, guess what they'll become? Precious little children. And they will act like who they are. If we as adults can model emotional control and problem solving, a while ago, an adult came to me and told me that they had feelings too. I didn't give a response. But in my mind, I was thinking, I ain't never seen your feelings. How do I know somebody have feelings if I've never seen their feelings? Healthy alternatives to physical punishment. Offer choices whenever possible. Hey, you can choose for me to take away your laptop or your PS5. And praise them when they do something good. If the only time you come around is when they're doing something bad, then I don't need you. But if I see you praising them and encouraging them when they're doing something good by simply just saying good job, that can make a huge difference in a child's life. Praise effort and cooperation. Seek support if you feel overwhelmed or close to lashing out. This is what I want you to do. If you see an adult pop a child upside the head, even if they call it discipline, you have every right to take action. Hitting a child in the head is considered physical abuse. Here's what you can do step by step. If a child is in immediate danger, if the child is bleeding, unconscious, or being violently attacked, call 911 right away. Tell them you are witnessing child abuse and need police and medical help. If the child is not in immediate medical danger, but you witness or strongly suspect abuse, you can call your state's Child Protective Services hotline. Every U.S. state has a 24/7 line to report suspected abuse or neglect. You can also remain anonymous. National numbers you can use anywhere in the U.S. Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline, 1-800-422-4453. I know I've said this earlier, but repetition will probably help you keep it in your brain somewhere. 1-800-4A-CHILD. Available 24/7. It's free, confidential, and anonymous if you choose to be anonymous. They will connect you with your local authorities. If you know the child personally, a neighbor, relative, or student, Document what you observed, date, time, exactly what you saw or heard. Report it to CPS or your local police non-emergency line. If this is in a school or daycare, you can also tell the principal or director. If you are unsure whether what you saw is considered abuse, call the child help hotline anyway. They will listen to your description and help you figure out the next step. You don't have to be certain, only concerned. You don't have to be certain, only concerned. You are never wrong to protect the child. You are never wrong to protect the child. You are never wrong to protect the child. Even a single pop to the head can cause lasting harm. You might be the only advocate that child has at that moment. You are doing something brave and necessary. If the child is in immediate danger, being repeatedly hit, choked, slammed, or obviously injured, call 911 immediately. Say, I am witnessing a child being physically assaulted. Please send help right now. Give the exact address and any details. If you feel safe to intervene, you can step in without touching the adult and use a calm, firm voice. Stop. This is not safe. You need to step away from the child. I'm calling for help right now. Do not try to physically fight or grab the adult unless you have no choice to prevent serious harm. Your safety matters too. If the child is not in immediate danger but you see a single hit or a pattern, intervene verbally if you can do so safely. In a calm but firm voice, say something like, hey, I don't think hitting helps here. Can I help you with the child? Whoa, let's take a moment. Is everything okay? That looked really rough. Maybe we all need a breather. Sometimes simply interrupting can de-escalate the moment. Now, it says call 911 if you need help. Ask them to send an officer who is great at de-escalation skills. I'm so for serious. If you call 911 for any reason, say please send me an officer who knows and practices de-escalation skills. Okay? Offer help without judgment if possible. It looks like you're overwhelmed. Would you like me to sit with the child for a moment? Do you need a minute to yourself? After the incident, check on the child if you can safely do so. Are you okay? You didn't deserve to be hurt. I've said that and I will say it again to any of my children who I see that is ever hit by somebody else. You did not deserve that. That person was totally out of order. I don't know what they was thinking. You did not deserve that. Document what you saw, date and time, exactly what you witnessed, any injuries you noticed. Report it. You do not need proof, just reasonable concern. You can call Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline 1-800-422-4453 24/7, and you can be anonymous. They will walk you through how to file a report or call your local child protective services. Follow up if you know the child. Check in on them. Offer support to the caregiver if they seem open to help. If it's in a school or child care setting, notify the administration right away. I feel a water break coming on. It's good for you. Get your son. What not to do. Don't look away because you feel it's not your business. Don't threaten the adult in a way that escalates the situation unless the child is in immediate danger. Don't promise the child you won't tell anyone. Keeping secrets protects the abuser. Keeping secrets protects the abuser. Keeping secrets protects the abuser. Did y'all hear me? I can say it one more time. Keeping secrets protects the abuser. Remember, intervening can feel uncomfortable or scary. but children can't protect themselves. Your action, big or small, could be the first step in stopping the harm. You are doing something profoundly compassionate and brave. It is never okay to hit a child upside the head. Let me say that plainly without sugarcoating or hedging. There is no situation, no frustration, no discipline need, no cultural tradition where hitting a child in the head is safe or justified. Now, I did some more research. Hitting a child upside the head is inherently dangerous. The head houses the brain. For those of you who do not have brains, the head houses the brain. Even a light pop can cause concussion or brain injury, bleeding or swelling inside the skull, damage to eyes, ears, or neck, developmental delays or cognitive problems. It is always considered physical abuse. In most places, striking a child's head is against the law. Even if an adult intends it as correction, the law recognizes that it crosses a line. In most places, striking a child's head is against the law. Even if an adult intends it as correction, the law recognizes that it crosses a line. It causes psychological harm. Even a single incident can destroy trust and security, create anxiety, fear, and hypervigilance. Teach children that violence is normal in relationships. There are better ways to discipline. Children absolutely need limits and guidance, but you can set boundaries without violence. If you ever feel so angry or overwhelmed that you think about hitting a child, that's a sign to pause and get support before reacting. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human and in need of help. If you want, I can help you find some help. Here's some resources, tools for managing anger or ways to discipline that don't involve hitting. If you are ever worried about a child being hit in the head, please don't hesitate to call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. You should know this number by heart by now, 1-800-422-4453. Again, it's 24/7, free and confidential. You don't have to be sure it's abuse, just concerned. Let me be crystal clear. There is no acceptable situation where hitting a child in the head is okay. There is no acceptable situation where hitting a child in the head is okay. Your instinct to ask this question is the first step toward protecting children and breaking cycles of harm. There is no place, no home, no school, no church, no church, no church, no culture where it is appropriate to hit a child upside the head. I want you to hear that as clearly as possible. Not in the kitchen because they spilled something, not in the classroom because they talked back, not in the car because they were crying, not in the store because they were acting out, not in your own house because you think it's discipline, not in any country or culture where it's been normalized. Even if someone was raised to believe that's just how you get respect, research and child welfare laws overwhelmingly agree hitting a child in the head is never safe. Hitting a child in the head is never necessary. Hitting a child in the head is never appropriate. Now somebody probably saying, why? Bless your heart. It can cause serious physical injury, bruising, concussion, bleeding, blindness, developmental harm. It damages trust and creates lasting psychological trauma. It teaches that violence is an acceptable way to solve problems or show authority. It is considered child abuse by every credible medical, psychological, and legal authority there is. If you were taught that this is normal or acceptable, you are not alone, but you have the power to break the cycle. Let's breathe that in. You have the power to break the cycle. If you ever see it happening or feel close to doing it yourself, please reach out to one of these resources immediately. Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline 1-800-422-4453. The National Parent Helpline 1-855-427-2736. This helpline is for overwhelmed parents needing support. Now let's turn, if you will, to this good white man's Bible, to Ephesians 6:4. You'll find these words: Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. This verse reminds us that discipline is meant to guide, not to provoke anger or fear. Exasperate means to make someone very annoyed, frustrated, or angry, especially by repeatedly doing something they feel is unfair or harsh. Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. It means don't provoke them to resentment. Don't push them to the point of feeling hopeless or embittered. Don't constantly criticize, humiliate, or discipline in ways that crush their spirit. You know, there's a scripture in Proverbs: parents train you, spare the rod, spoil the child, or something like that. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I can't remember if I wrote that down or not, but I did some research behind that scripture. That scripture had nothing to do with getting the belt and whooping your child's behind. It was talking about a shepherd's rod. Shepherds use their rod to guide the sheep. The shepherds never use the rod to strike the sheep. That does not help and is not effective in keeping the sheep in line or in order. The rod is simply used to guide the sheep. Hey, let's go this way, not that way. Can we use the rod to help guide our children? Hey, child, let's go in this direction, not that direction. This is a more appropriate way, not that way. There's nowhere you're supposed to use a rod to strike a sheep, a child. It is used to guide them. In Ephesians 6:4, fathers, do not exasperate your children. Don't irritate them intensely. Don't wear out your child's patience. Children are human too. Parents are people too. Don't push your child to anger through harshness or unfair treatment. Ephesians 6:4 is a gentle but firm reminder guiding children should build them up, not break them down. Read this book, please, and thank you. Thank you, and please read this book. It's called No Drama Discipline by Daniel J. Siegel. The book is focused on teaching parents to discipline through understanding the child's developing brain and emotions, rather than using fear or control. You know what? This just came to my mind: fear or control. A lot of big people like to pick on little people because that's the only thing they can control. A lot of husbands who beat their wives do it because that's the only thing they can control. That's a shame. No drama discipline emphasizes connection, empathy, and teaching strategies, turning tense moments into learning opportunities. Raising Children Compassionately. This is a book by Marshall B. Rosenberg, Raising Children Compassionately. It's a compassionate handbook based on nonviolent communication principles. Nonviolent. Remember Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? We use nonviolent against people who are violent towards us, but use violence against children who are nonviolent against us because they are too small to be violent towards us. This book, Raising Children Compassionately, models how to guide children with empathy, clarity, and respect without punishment. Watch, what is this show? Super Nanny. Watch Super Nanny. Learn you something. Also, go to YouTube. I'm going to put the YouTube link in the description. They won an award. Breaking the Cycle, Safe Parenting Without Violence. It's a 7-minute animated short that centers on a father who, with love and patience, learns to style his daughter's hair for the first time. You witness the connection, creativity, and empowerment without any conflict or harshness. It emphasizes that discipline and guidance come from gentle teaching and shared experiences. Gentle teaching and shared experiences. Gentle teaching and shared experiences, not from force or punishment. The father-daughter bond shines through even in a challenging moment. Their mutual respect pushes the cycle of compassion forward. There is no mutual respect when you're going around threatening a child that you're going to beat they behind every day. There's no respect for that. It won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film, and it's available on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. It's a heartfelt and hopeful example of safe, supportive parenting. Also, listen to this song. I listened to it a while ago. Go Gentle by Robin Williams. Go Gentle. It was written as a heartfelt promise from a father to his newborn daughter. The song embodies gentle, loving care and the intention to nurture with kindness and protection. It's a tender commitment to guide a child with empathy, not force. Also listen to the song Safe by Sage and Keisha Coles and Shaka Khan. This song explores creating environments of security and healing, speaking to the broader need for emotional and physical safety in our relationships. Breaking the Cycle, again by Daniel J. Siegel, but it's a quote in there I want to share with you. Too often we forget that discipline really means to teach, not to punish. A disciple A disciple is a student, not a recipient of behavior consequences. A disciple is a student, not a recipient of behavior consequences. And Siegel is a neuroscientist. Also, I can't remember if I told y'all that No Drama Discipline by Daniel J. Siegel. A prayer for breaking the cycle, safe parenting without violence. My beautiful dear, beautiful black queens who have children, let's all make a commitment that we will break the cycle and use safe parenting skills without violence. I know those of us who have used it before, we have to train our way out of that and learn a new way. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I've actually heard someone say when I said gentle parenting, they said, I don't have gentle kids. If you become a gentle parent, you will have gentle kids. Your kids are not gentle because they do not have a gentle parent. Gracious and loving God, we come to you with open hearts, seeking strength to parent with gentleness, wisdom, and compassion. Help us to release the patterns of anger, fear, and harshness that have traveled through generations. Teach us to guide our children with patience and love, not with our pain or frustration. Grant us the courage to pause before we react, to breathe before we speak, and to remember that every moment is a chance to build trust instead of fear. Fill our homes with peace, fill our hands with kindness, fill our words with understanding. Help us to be living examples of your grace, modeling respect, empathy, and forgiveness. May we protect the hearts and spirits of our children, honoring them as precious gifts entrusted to our care. We declare today that the cycle of violence ends with us. With your help, we will raise a generation rooted in love, wholeness, and hope. Amen. Amen and Ashe. You know, a lot of us, a lot of us don't realize that many of the violent practices we now call discipline were not native to African societies before colonization and slavery. Yeah, I did some research on that. Like when did black people started whipping our children? You know when Africans started whipping their children? After slavery. African people, when they came to America as slaves, did not start whipping their children until after slavery. So how did Native Africans discipline their children before colonization and slavery? So let's clear the air with some historical context. Pre-colonial African child rearing was often rooted in communal responsibility, storytelling, and shame-based, not pain-based, shame-based correction. Discipline centered around restoring harmony, not punishment. Children were corrected through oral teachings, proverbs, and community guidance. Elders and extended family played a big role. Children were accountable to the whole village. Corporal punishment did exist in some regions, but it was usually rare, measured, and not the first option. And not the first option. And not the first option. The only time in African cultures where you see a child getting hit, and it wasn't even with what we would call a weapon or a whatever they call it. It was with um, their hands, and it was rare and measured, which means the elder said 2 or 3 licks, and it was very rare. It was so rare that it became a communal event. Literally, it became an event. Like, wow, we have a child, and it was only for serious. It was reserved for serious things, like if a child literally committed a crime as a child. Over here in America, if you commit a crime, they put you in jail as a child. That's serious. There's 7 serious crimes that you can go to jail for, even if you were a child. And it's, of course, unalive someone. So, in pre-colonization and pre-slavery, when we were on our own land, and their child did something so egregious that they could go to jail for it, that was the only time corporal punishment was used. It was not used because they was running around in church. It was not used because they was playing in church. It was not used because they broke something at the house. It was not used because you were just aggravated and frustrated. It was not used because they was kept running up and down the stairs. Corporal punishment in pre-slavery African traditions was only used as a rare and measured, which means the sentence was 3 hits, which was for a child. 3 they felt like was enough to get the child's attention. And a lot of it was a communal event because it was so rare that what did this child do to deserve to get some lashes? Who did they unalive? It had to be one of the 7 deadly sins. And it was only used if what the child did was a threat against the collective good of the whole community. Like the child literally would have to steal something or do something so bad that it dishonored the entire community, not just the family within the house. But the child had to go out and do something so bad that it dishonored the entire family. And check this out. It wasn't controlled by the parents. Because they felt the parents would be too emotionally involved. Any corporal punishment that any African child received in Africa, it was controlled by the elders who had spiritual and moral authority. It was not given to the frustrated parents. European colonization and the Atlantic slave trade dramatically transformed African approaches to discipline. European colonization and the Atlantic slave trade dramatically transformed African approaches to discipline. Everything I'm saying, you can look it up, research my research. Colonial powers introduced and enforced more severe, fear-based punishment, modeling it on how they controlled enslaved people. I want to ask Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. children. Reverend Dr. Bernice King still lives in Atlanta. I think I sent her a text message. Out of respect, totally out of respect, I wonder, Reverend Dr. Bernice, your father ran a nonviolent movement against people who were being violent towards us. Was he also nonviolent in the home? Did he ever use any form of violence toward the children who are not able to use any violence towards him? In my imagination, I don't believe that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was violent towards any of his children. I believe when he met Mahatma Gandhi, y'all know who I'm talking about. I believe he took on the nonviolent movement and he used it in every area of his life, because he would have to do that in order to maintain a mind frame of nonviolence. Enslaved Africans in the Americas were beaten and terrorized into submission. Sound familiar? Black parents often beat and terrorize their children into submission. And over generations, some of those patterns became normalized as the way to keep children in line. I'm going to give you some examples of pre-colonial African discipline practices. They would use storytelling and proverbs to teach morals and expected behavior. They would give them temporary isolation. A lot of people think time out came from white people. Time out was done in Africa before we came over here as slaves. They would they called it temporary isolation, and they wanted to give the child time to reflect. Now, they didn't keep them in temporary isolation all day. It was normally based on the child's age. Like I have a 9-year-old king, so if I were to give him temporary isolation, it would be for like 9 minutes. Okay, I'm going to give you 9 minutes to think about the choices and decisions you have just made. And then also give the parents time to calm down. Even if you think everything I'm saying is bullshit and garbage, even if you don't agree with anything I'm saying, at least do this, please. Please, please, I beg of you, please, my beautiful, sweet, wonderful queens. At least, if you still gonna practice corporal punishment, because you believe everything you read in this white man Bible, instead of just doing your own research. So if you still believe that you still need to whoop your children, please, just take a time. You take a time out before you whoop the child. Now, some of y'all probably saying, no, a timeout is what I take after I whoop the child. That sounds cute and funny. But for real, just take a time out. Don't immediately react. Take a time out. Thank you. Another disciplinary action was shame and community disapproval, a powerful deterrent when identity was woven into the collective. Your identity, even your name, meant something as a child in Africa and still does. So when you brought shame among your name and community disapproval, that was enough right there to deter children from doing anything that would identify the community or collective as a whole in any light that was derogatory in any way. They had literal rituals of reconciliation where they would literally have a communal event. Okay, they had a communal event when they had to do the rare and measured disciplinary measure. And then after that, some days would go by when the elders felt like it was time. They would have a ritual of reconciliation. Ain't that something? They would have I was amazed. They would reconcile the child back into the community and restore the child's trust and dignity. Wow. Now, where that at in the Bible? Look it up. It's called Rituals of Reconciliation in Africa. After the child has been disciplined and apologized, they will restore the child back into the community in hopes of restoring the trust among the child. Reminds me of Roots. When he had a baby, he lifted the baby up above his head and said, "Behold, the only thing greater than I." This rituals of reconciliation reminds me that's something I believe that child would have gone through if that child ever had to go through a rare and measured disciplinary action. They would restore that child. They don't ever punish your child without restoring them. And at least communicate with them, hey, this is why this happened. Let's make sure this don't happen again. Can you imagine the level of confidence, and can you imagine how special that child would feel to have a ritual of reconciliation just to restore that child's trust back into the community? That's powerful. Let me give you a perspective worth you reflecting on. Many African societies believe a child belongs to everyone. That meant no single adult had unchecked power to hurt them. Correction was about shaping character, not breaking spirits. Now, the adult had no unchecked power when I looked this up as far as hurting them. Now, I'm not talking about physical abuse. That means taking the child, putting them in their proper place. That's how it was worded from the article I read. I'm putting all the resources in. Here's one right here: African parenting systems and approaches, African indigenous knowledge and the disciplines and that was edited by Gloria Emingo Wally. In Parenting in Africa, a Historical Perspective. Could read those articles, it'll bless you. But every adult in that child's life, who the parents of the child knew, who the child knew, all of them made sure that that child stayed in line. You know, if we would get together as African Americans here, and I know that's hard to do because of where we're at, but after reading all of this, in Africa, everybody was together. Everybody was a community. If somebody had food, everybody ate. If they had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, all 5,000 of the people in the community ate. I don't know about that. I was about to go somewhere else, but let me keep that to myself. Before enslavement and colonization, our ancestors often practiced communal, restorative, and violentless discipline. Our ancestors practiced communal, restorative, and violentless, which we call nonviolent, discipline. The cycle we are trying to break now was not born in Africa. It was imposed on us here in America. The cycle we're trying to break now, whooping our children because the slave master whooped our ancestors. The cycle we're trying to break now, it was not born in Africa. It was imposed on us here in America. Breaking the cycle, safe parenting without violence. When did we decide a child's head was the best place to land our frustrations? Hitting a child upside the head doesn't make them respect you. It makes them fear you, mistrust you, and sometimes hate themselves. 3 things I want you to know. Science says it hurts more than it helps. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, corporal punishment is linked to higher aggression, mental health issues, and poor relationships. That's the American Academy of Pediatrics 2018. That means smacking Junior upside the head isn't teaching discipline. It's teaching anxiety and rage. We are not our grandmamas. I know Big Mama said a switch will fix it, but Big Mama also used turpentine for colds and thought eating Vicks vapor rub was medicinal. Are we really trying to bring that into 2025? We can break the cycle and still be respected. Discipline ain't about domination. It's about education, boundaries, and love. You can be firm without being fierce, consistent without being cruel. Let's get real for a minute. Some of y'all saying, well, I got whooped and I turned out fine. You really don't. Bless your heart, you turned out fine. Is turning out fine for you means you're thriving? Turning out fine and thriving are 2 different zip codes. Fine is I flinch when someone raises their hand. Fine is I say sorry when I didn't do nothing. Fine is I yell at my kids because that's all I know. Are you fine or are you free? A 2021 CDC study found that 61% of Black adults experienced some form of physical punishment growing up. Yet nearly 40% of those adults said they wish their parents had done it differently. Now, I'm not here to bash parents. Parents are people too. And us as Black adults, we're only doing what we need. That's why I'm doing this video, hoping that it will educate the willing. Some people gonna think it's a bunch of hogwash and just be like, whatever. I'm still gonna do what the white man Bible say. Bless your heart. I keep you and your children in my prayer. So about half of us grown adults walking around here wish we had been loved more. Wish that we would have had more patience. Wish our parents would have had more patience with us when we was growing up. I know some parents say, I just need to knock some sense into them. They gotta learn respect. But if you hit a child every time they mess up, do you call that love or assault? Does that feel like love to you or assault? What if every time you went to work, your boss hit you every time you messed up? Would you call that love or assault? Can I give you some alternatives to whooping? First of all, your child head is not a tambourine. Time out. You know what? When you say time out in the African American culture, you're like, that's white people stuff. No, that's human stuff. I know some of us African Americans think white people do things strange, and I'm sure white people think that African Americans do things strange. It's just a cultural difference between the two. That's all. No racism or discrimination. I hope it's not. Well, from my standard, for this purpose right here, a timeout. I know a lot of black people just don't do it because they feel it's white people stuff. That's the only reason why they don't do timeout. Oh, that stuff white people do. Okay, so what? We can learn something from white people. White people can learn something from us. We can all learn something from everybody. A timeout is just a pause. A pause is just a pause, and kids need to pause. Kids have a lot of energy, and if we don't put that energy into appropriate and measured and corrective ways, sometimes we need to put that energy to a pause. Let them cool off some. When you feel they're ready, let them go back to playing again. Natural consequences. If they throw a toy, guess what? The toy goes away. Bye bye toy. If they talk back, they lose privileges. Simple math, no bruises, nobody get hit. Let's just try it. Calm explanations, even when you want to scream. Okay, my beautiful black queen, sometimes the scariest thing we can do is stay calm. Whisper your consequence in that deep, I'm not playing with you tone, and watch the room get real quiet. I'm gonna challenge you. You might not like this, but have you ever considered that hitting kids is more about your own stress than their behavior? Oh wait, go and get you a drink. You need to get you a drink on this one. Go and get it. Go on and sip it. No judgment here. A little wine is good for the belly. Violence is not tradition. Respect is not fear. You are strong enough to break the chain, even if you didn't grow up with examples. When did we decide a child's head was the place to land our frustrations? It doesn't have to be that way. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. When I started this, I said I was going to give y'all a lot of sources. I wrote them down. I gave you some throughout the presentation or whatever you want to call this, but I wrote 3 down that I really thought would be helpful. The American Academy of Pediatrics Policy Statement 2018. Okay, the American Academy of Pediatrics Policy Statement 2018. Read that, that's really good. The CDC ACEs study, that ACES, the CDC ACEs study in 2021. Read that study. I think that one was a longer read, but it's worth the read. Okay? Gershoff and Grogan 2016, Spanking and Child Outcomes. Spanking and Child Outcomes. So what they did was a study children who got spankers and children who did not get spankers and their outcomes. It was like a study they did as they watched the children grow and develop. So very good. Read that too. That's if you're really seriously interested about alternatives other than whooping your children. My beautiful black queens, I dare you. No, I double dog dare you to be the cycle breaker. I'm here with you. Let's raise our children with boundaries. Raise them with clarity. But most of all, raise them without fear. Okay? Let's say thank you and amen on that. My beautiful black queens, today is your day to choose a different path. Decide that your hands will teach, not terrify. Commit to learning new ways to guide your child with love and consistency. Reach out for support when old habits start knocking at your door. You have the power to break the cycle. You have the courage to create a home where your babies feel safe, respected, and deeply loved. Let's stand together. One parent, one choice, one moment at a time, and say, it ends with me. It ends with me. No more fear, no more violence, only healing, growth, and radical love. Join me, share this message. Be the change our children deserve. Be the change our children deserve. Thank you so much for liking, watching, sharing, subscribing, and turning on that notification button. Do me a favor, please. Share this with at least 4 different people. You're more than likely to become like the 4 people you hang around the most. Do me a favor and do that if you will. And thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you. If our hearts and minds are clear, let's go and govern ourselves accordingly.
We've been whispering through the walls, trying to hush what our hearts wanna call. I feel your skin, it's a velvet prayer, pulling me closer, lay my burdens bare. You got a way to heal my ache, with every sigh that my body makes. Turn the night into a holy space. Baby, your love can't be replaced. Don't you turn it down, no. When the world gets loud, we gon' let it drown. 'Cause love is louder, love is deeper. Wrap me up, take me under. Every heartbeat, every shiver, you deliver something tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. I can taste forever on your lips, feel salvation in your fingertips. We don't need to say too much, just a look, just a touch. Let them talk, let them speculate. They can't measure what we create. Turn the lights low, let me find every secret you've been trying to hide. Don't you turn it down, no. When the world gets loud, we gon' let it drown. 'Cause love is louder, love is deeper. Wrap me up, take me under. Every heartbeat, every shiver, you deliver something tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. tender. Love is louder, love is higher, burning slow like midnight fire. Ain't no question, ain't no doubt, your love is louder, drowning everything out. Yeah, your love is louder, so much louder. Let it drown it all. Love is loud.